and a very warm welcome from my side to today's panel at 𝗵 Summit, How to Make It as an Entrepreneur. My name is Tanja and I am your host today. I'm the co-founder of the Female Factor, a global leaders community connecting and enabling the next generation of entrepreneurs and decision makers. So now, depending on who you ask, the global numbers of female founders are around 20 to 30% of all startups launched. So I'm even more honored today to have an all-female panel to share their learnings with us. And as we all know, there is no magic bullet that can transform you into a successful entrepreneur overnight, even though sometimes media portrays it a bit differently. But for sure, there's advice to get you to the top faster. And I'm excited to hear the advice of our three panelists today. Welcome, Pavlina, Tzufit, and Noor. Hey, ladies.
Hi.
And to get you all started, I'd ask you to introduce yourself and your company within a classic 90 seconds pitch. Pavlina, do you want to get started?
Okay, so hey there, everyone. My name is Pavlina. I'm from 𝗪𝗪𝗃𝗃. 𝗪𝗪𝗃𝗃 is the global tool that is connecting hotels and their guests after the reservation. We're digitalizing the processes at the reception between you, the guest, and the receptionist. What we're trying to do is to automate and making contactless communication, check-in, sending information, upselling of the services in the hotel, and the checkout. So in this post-COVID time or in the COVID time, say what you want, we're trying to get the guest trust and social distancing. During the COVID time, we hired our numbers from 70%, which means that people are really interested into going to hotels and doing the digital solutions. We're mainly in Europe-based company. Our offices are in Prague, Amsterdam, and Maryland in the United States. Our main market is in European Union, but going also to Latin America and Asia. We work mainly with the independent chain hotels and with 100+ hotels. And what we are searching for mainly are the partners all over the world, and also currently also some type of strategic investors that would go with us into the LATAM and also Asia. Thank you very much.
Thank you for the insights, Pavlina. Noor, do you want to go next?
Of course. Thank you so much. So my name is Noor Sugrue. I'm the founder of Vintro. I founded Vintro in January of 2018, and it was really born out of thinking about the question, how do people with good ideas get access to resources today? And very, very quickly, I came to the conclusion, I'm sure as you're all aware, it's a lot about who you know. Maybe you went to the right school, maybe you had access to the right social network, maybe you were lucky and you happened to be in the right place at the right time. But that's incredibly inefficient. It's 100% luck and there's no logic behind it. So we then started thinking about ways to use technology to connect people with brilliant, powerful, world-changing ideas with the people that they need to help bring their ideas to life. The only thing is that leaders who typically tend to wall themselves off because they're afraid of having their time wasted, and historically that has excluded the large majority of society. So for us, it was about finding ways to change this. And Vintro has eliminated this fear by creating a marketplace where you're able to pay for guaranteed attention, engagement, feedback in a more efficient and actually more cost-effective way than ever before. And in doing so, we've been able to open up countless opportunities for people who would have otherwise previously been excluded. And at the heart and soul of what this is and what it's about trying to level the playing field that much more and as much as possible and create opportunities for people. Thank you.
Amazing. I love the passion in the pitch. And I love our common mission to connect people and to help them to, reach their goals and grab the opportunities. And Tzufit, my fellow Israeli, you want to go next?
Hi, nice to meet you and happy to be here. I'm an entrepreneur and I'm the owner of Connect2. I'm based in Tel Aviv, Tanja State, and I'm working with people around the globe. I'm really passionate about connecting communities, people, and businesses to each other. So I help them with my consulting by leveraging what they do using content, solutions, and ideas. I've been doing this for more than a decade, and that's why I created Connect2, to utilize my interdisciplinary background and for the sake of generating social impact. So actually my career began in music, and then I moved to journalism. when I worked for folks, both of which are basically about communicating, because one uses music as a vehicle and the other uses words. But communication is still my motivator. So now I'm using communication tools and content to build communities and engage people. Today, I'm still an active journalist. I'm writing about entrepreneurship, innovation, and power of technology to create positive change. I'm also the proud co-founder of 𝗪𝗂𝗃, a professional network for women in the high-tech field from the Middle East and North Africa region. And to sum it up, so this is all what Connect2 is about. I'm using my various communication skills and abilities to help others, to help entrepreneurs, businesses, and companies with community building, engaging members and customers, creating strategy, online and offline content, and more. And I'm looking forward to sharing with you all the lessons I've learned. Thank you, Tanya.
Thank you for the introduction. And I love that it's like all of us is a mission-driven company, and all wanted to help each other, help like the next generation of entrepreneurs, businesses. And I love that to see that in especially female-led companies, that there is always a bit more behind it, a bit more sustainability, a bit more thinking ahead what the next generation needs, and not only profits. But obviously profits are part of the game, otherwise it's a non-profit, right? So also being an entrepreneur brings a lot of risks, right? So I would want to understand a bit better before we got into the hard facts, what brought us there, what actually convinced you in the beginning to take this entrepreneurial leap, This generation, or like everyone coming next, we're still a bit anxious about the decision being an entrepreneur and starting because of risk, because of like family decision, because of like maybe not feeling good enough or not being there yet. And I think it would help to understand what made the difference for you, and if you had any doubts in the moment of saying yes to this opportunity of entrepreneurship. Pavlina, you want to get started?
I can, of course. So maybe you'll be surprised. I'm a studied lawyer. So I started to do the law job as a paralegal. But after the lunch, I sort of fell asleep every time. Not that the job was boring, but just, which was not the way I wanted to proceed all my life. So that's why I started to search for new opportunity. And at the Facebook, I think I just found the article from my friend who had the IT company at the time, searching the product manager junior. I said, yay, that I see manager and junior, which would be something that I'm searching for. And just ask him for that. He said, you're a lawyer. I was like, I'll try. He said, okay. But then he gave me a different position, which was the key account manager in his IT company, where he had various projects, but also the idea of 𝗪𝗧. I fell in love with 𝗪𝗧 since the super beginning because I love traveling and I've seen the point and the pain, and the whole solution was smart. So I started to work for it a little bit more than on the other projects, also after the work and, weekends and so on. So once he's seen that there is a time to divide it from his current company into a solid independent company, he asked me to be his founder. So this is my story.
Amazing. Thank you for sharing.
Welcome.
Noor, you want to go next?
Of course. So I think my story is a little bit different than, other entrepreneurs who I think decide that that's what they want to go into a little bit later on in their careers when they're a little bit more established. I founded this business when I was still in high school, and I'm currently a college student as well as doing everything else. And I think in the beginning, there was definitely a lot of doubt in my mind about whether this is something that was worth my time doing, especially because it's not typically something that I saw my peers doing, that I was around. And, it was a time where people were heading off to college, and it was definitely a new chapter. But, I was really obsessed with this idea. You can probably ask my family. They probably got sick of hearing about it after a while. But, as I mentioned, in my pitch earlier, this is really about the mission. It's about, there's so many barriers. And at this point, I'm familiar with all of them to trying to start a business. And, networking and, trying to get people to hear or to think that you have something of value should not be one of them. If you have an amazing idea, the quality of your idea and your ability to execute it should really be what prevails and what determines the success of your idea.
Yeah, 100% agree. I love that mission, and you're so right with the opportunities. And Tzufit, what was your decision point jump on that.
I really agree with you about the opportunities and about how tough it is. And actually, whenever I'm asked this question, so I'm just saying to people, I didn't wake up in the morning and I say, okay, today I'm gonna be an entrepreneur, because for me it was either a passion that I went after or something I really wanted to do as in DJing when I started my career, or finding a solution or a problem or a pain point that I identified and I said, okay, I really want to do something with it, as I did with 𝗪𝗏 and with 𝗪𝗏. So I'm guessing, it started about that. And then I understood that this is what I have to take to find the solution that I want to.
And do you had any doubts on that way and thinking of no, I rather should not, or was it then just clear that you need to take it?
Of course, I always have doubts, but I think it's about just keeping up. You just find the way to understand how to move on and why, because it's always about the mission. The why am I doing this? And this is what keeps me, because I'm passionate about it, and this is what I wanted to do. Otherwise, I wouldn't do that.
That's amazing, yes. And continuing with that, what do you think all is your number one personality trait that brought you where you are today?
Wow, so that's a really good question. I think it's definitely curiosity. For me, it's the hunger to learn, to research, to ask questions, to learn either in courses or from other people's experiences, or even from traveling and meeting other cultures, because that's how I developed. I learned skills. And curiosity for me is also the willingness to experiment. I mean, in order to achieve results, or even when the result is unknown, because it enabled me to be exposed to many industries, different types of professionals, and eventually identify what I want to do. So curiosity, that's me.
That definitely is a trait that comes in handy in everyday life situation, not only as an entrepreneur, but definitely contributes, yes. What's your take, Noor?
Oh, I mean, curiosity is a really awesome one. And, that's definitely something that I use every single day. But I think for me, the biggest one would have to be perseverance. You are definitely tougher than you think you are. And, it's not going to be easy. And still, when things aren't easy, getting up every day and keep going, there's that kind of mentality around working and life and starting your business, I think for me has been immensely helpful. I think probably the number one thing that I would carry with me always.
Nice. Yeah, that's great also. Pavlina, what's yours? Your number one personality trait that brought you where you are today?
Well, I believe it's being cheeky. I'm a cheeky person.
Love it.
Person, but always when they're humble. So not that badass. It's just positive, humble badass.
Okay, no, I would definitely sign that for you. You're definitely...
I'm doing what I'm doing. I love what I'm doing. I'm not afraid to ask. I'm not afraid to go for it. And, when you do it with smile, when you enjoy it, it's just part of the game. And it's definitely cheeky and humble.
That's definitely true. So thinking back now on your previous journey, what would be the number one challenge you had on your way, and how did you overcome it? And pretty short, because time's ticking. So if you can pin it down to one thing and one learning, that would be great. Pavlina, you want to continue?
Well, of course I can. For me, the biggest challenge is now the COVID, because we're in the tough industry with the hotels and travel, which was hit the most during the COVID. For us, we have two challenges in that. One is the very bad time for the industry, very low occupancy rate, no guests, closed hotels, so you have no one to serve. But on the other side, there is a big demand of the need of that product. So the contactless reception, contactless processes, which we also been voted by the World Tourism Organization, World Health Organization as one of the products that can help the hotels to remove the problems after the COVID. So positive and negative, both sides, but very tough on both sides also. So the COVID time.
Yeah, I think it's tough on literally everyone, not only like on a company level, but also, emotionally for everyone, especially entrepreneurs, not seeing each other and your social network. But fingers crossed, and you will for sure, I think you have better chances than most of the clients you're working with to survive out of this, right?
Thank you.
Being the marketplace and the cheeky badass you are. And Noor, you have any learnings so far that you can share in terms of your challenges?
For sure. I think that my personality trait will make sense now, considering that I think the biggest challenge I face has been rejection. And it's also been the biggest blessing as well. I've learned so much from times of rejection, but it's definitely hard sometimes, and it's definitely not easy. And I think that's as well when the perseverance really kicks in, and it really becomes a numbers game. You get rejected every single day, but then every single day you also have amazing conversations that uplift you, and learn from the rejection, but really hold on to all the positive feedback you're getting as well.
Yeah, that's an excellent point. And jumping in there right now, do you have any specific persons around you that help you overcome that? If you get rejected, having your mentor or anyone that is advising you in that, down times of an entrepreneur?
Yeah, I think, everyone needs help. I mean, no one builds anything alone. I've been so incredibly fortunate to have an amazing team that's supporting me, and that, we're very open and we talk about, what's going on, and, when we need to make adjustments, we do. And having mentors and people that can guide you and be very honest and upfront with you is incredibly valuable and so important. So 100%. I mean, I definitely have people in my life, and even not in the workplace, from family, from friends. At this point, I talk about 𝗵𝗃 all day, every day with everyone. So everyone's very abreast in what's going on. And so I think having just that support and being able to rely on people is incredibly important.
Yeah, that's true. And Pavlina, do you have any mentors?
Oh, good question. I used to have so far quite a lot of mentors, thanks to the Startup Bootcamp, which we participated, and also people that have been around me. I believe it's so important to have a mentor. I used to have mentors for each problem or each challenge I have been facing. So there have been quite some. But the long-term mentor I have is my ex-boyfriend, which is a serious entrepreneur. I always can call him. He has a variation of experiences. So he's my long-term mentor. And then I always had the mentors for, let's say, each challenge that I needed to face.
That's great. And because it's really close to the end, very short from every single one of you, what would be the number one advice from you for the next generation of entrepreneurs? Tzufit, do you have one for us?
Yes, of course. So I just said enjoy the journey, because you should embrace the hard times as well as the successes. It sounds like a cliche, but learning from all the failures and the mistakes and the errors and the hard times, it's crucial, and it helps us develop as entrepreneurs and professionals in general. So we should celebrate the successes and we should remember them. This helps us during times like this. The world is changing and we are forced to adapt. So we have to embrace both of them and just to enjoy the vibe.
That's true. Pavlina?
Well, I have maybe two. One is just don't copy the current processes. Just think of the one that are efficient and new. And the other one, which is, I believe, the most important for everyone from us, please think of the nature with everything you do, because everything you will do, then for people, and so people will be here and happy when the nature will be okay and healthy. So please always think of nature, because we all need it.
Yes, true. And Noor, last words of wisdom.
Yeah, I think just following suit from what Pavlina just said, that was an absolutely amazing point. I think for me, my biggest one is have a why. Know why you're doing what you're doing. And I think now more than ever, we're seeing that the world is changing, and I think in a lot of ways, it's changing for the better. I think we're learning that some things we weren't doing are really not best for society or for the planet. And whatever you do in your work, whether it's being an entrepreneur or whether it's not, think about how are you leaving the world a better place than you left it? And I think there's absolutely, I think now really more than ever, I think it's a crucial part of business is the connection between doing business and doing good.
Amazing. I love those final words. I don't even need to add something. Thank you so much for this super short panel. I hope everyone enjoyed and can take something out of it. Enjoy the rest of the summit. And if you want to get in touch with any one of the panelists, you can also drop them a message on Hopin or on LinkedIn. Enjoy. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the invitation. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.